National Commission for Minorities is a forum for appeal set up to safeguard the rights and interests of India's minority communities. Unlike the National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes, the National Commission for Minorities is a statutory body. So, why is there a need for such a commission? See, the Constitution is unambiguous about the rights of individuals and of certain groups and minorities. And the success of a pluralistic democracy lies in these rationalist and robust institutions which protects those rights that are given up by the Constitution to the citizens of the India. And these institutions give those abstract ideas of rights the shape on the actual ground. The degree of autonomy with which organizations like National Commission for Minorities, National Commission for Scheduled Castes, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, and National Commission for Backward Classes are able to function eventually decides how healthy a democracy is. See, these are systems that allow for a healthy evaluation of the state of the nation, a forum for airing of discontent which ultimately strengthens the system, apart from allowing individuals to fully exercise their rights. The National Commission for Minorities adheres to the United Nations Declaration of 18 December 1992, which states that states shall protect the existence of the national or ethnic, cultural, religious, and linguistic identity of minorities within their respective territories and encourage conditions for the promotion of that identity. See, the Constitution of India does not define the word minority but has used the word minorities considering religion and language of a person. And for these minorities, the Constitution of India has given a number of rights and safeguards. And to provide equality with respect to these minorities, the Constitution has provided various rights in fundamental rights under Part 3rd of the Constitution, in directive principles of the state policy in Part 4th, and also the fundamental duties in Part 4th A of the Constitution. Indian state is committed to administer these rights which can be enforced by judicially. Therefore, under fundamental rights of Part 3rd of the Indian Constitution, Article 29 provides that any section of the citizen residing in any part of India having a distinct language, script, or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. Further, no citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of the state funds on grounds only of religion, race, caste, or language. Therefore, it grants protection to both religious minorities as well as linguistic minorities. Further, also in Article 30 of the Fundamental Rights, it grants the following rights to minorities, whether religious or linguistic. All minorities shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. And in granting aid, the state shall not discriminate against any educational institution that is managed by a minority. Further, under Part 17 of the Indian Constitution, official language, in Article 347, there are special provisions relating to language spoken by a section of the population of a state. And further, in Article 350A, facilitates for instruction in mother tongue at primary stage. And Article 350B provides for a special officer for linguistic minorities. The idea of a statutory commission to look into the affairs of minorities germinated in the state of Uttar Pradesh when a one-man minorities commission was established at Lucknow in 1960. The central government for almost 3 decades of independence remained reluctant to the idea of creating a minorities commission at the national level in order to provide for a mechanism to protect and promote the interest of minorities, both religious and linguistic. However, with the change of guard at the central level in 1977 and the inauguration of the Janata government headed by the Morarji Desai, the moves were put into place a body with the exclusive jurisdiction of looking after the affairs of the minorities. and accordingly the Ministry of Home Affairs under Chaudhary Charan Singh notified the government resolution providing the rational setting up of the Minorities Commission. In 1978, the Government of India thus provided by an executive resolution set up a Minorities Commission to safeguard the interest of minorities. And later, it was felt that Minorities Commission should be given statutory status so that it may infuse confidence among the minorities about the working and the effectiveness of the commission. And further, it would then also carry more weight with the state governments and union territories administration and the ministries and departments and other organizations of the central government. Therefore, after remaining in existence for 14 years as a non-statutory body, the Minorities Commission, with the enactment of the National Commission for Minorities Act 1992, became a statutory body and was renamed as the National Commission for Minorities. And it was the first statutory commission that was constituted in 1993. However, the Act does not define the term minority but enables the central government to notify minorities for the purpose of the Act. Accordingly, the Centre in 1993 notified 5 religious communities: Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Parsis as minority communities. And in January 2014, the Jain community was also added to the list of the minorities communities. The National Commission for Minorities is a multi-member body consisting of a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and 5 members. They are nominated by the central government from amongst persons of eminence, ability, and integrity. However, 5 members, including the chairperson, should be from amongst the minority communities. The salaries, allowances, and other service conditions of the chairman and the members are also prescribed by the central government, Ministry of Minority Affairs. And notably, members include the vice chairperson. The chairperson and members hold office for a period of 3 years. However, they can relinquish their office at any time by addressing their resignation to the central government. Further, the central government can also remove the chairperson or a member from the office before the expiry of his term, but however, the chairperson or a member cannot be removed until he is given a reasonable opportunity of being heard in the matter. Further, the chairperson of the commission is also made the ex officio members of the National Human Rights Commission for the purpose of performance of majority of the function of the National Human Rights Commission. The functions of the National Commission for Minorities is provided with a 9-point mandate, which are as follows. Firstly, to evaluate the progress of the development of minorities under the Union and the states. To monitor the working of the safeguards for minorities provided in the Constitution and in laws enacted by Parliament and by the state legislatures. To make recommendations for the effective implementation of safeguards for the protection of the interest of minorities by the central government or by the state government. To look into specific complaints regarding deprivation of rights and safeguards of minorities and take up such matters with the appropriate authorities. To cause case studies to be undertaken into the problems arising out of any discrimination against minorities and recommend measures for their removal. To conduct studies, research and analysis on the issues relating to socio-economic and educational development of minorities. Further, to suggest appropriate measures in respect of any minority to be undertaken by the central government or by the state government. To make periodical or special reports to the central government on any matter pertaining to minorities and in particular the difficulties confronted by them. And the last mandate to look into any other matter referred to it by the central government. The Commission, while evaluating and monitoring any matter or inquiring into any complaint, has all the powers of a civil court trying a suit, such as summoning and enforcing the attendance of any person from any part of India and examining him on oath, or requisitioning any public record from any court or office, etc. The Commission presents an annual report to the central government. It can also submit a report as and when it thinks necessary. The central government places all such reports before each House of Parliament along with the memorandum explaining the action taken on the recommendations made by the Commission. The memorandum should also contain the reason for the non-acceptance of any such recommendations. And if any such report is related to any matter with which any state government is concerned, then the National Commission forwards a copy of such reports to such state government, and the state government places its recommendations of the commission and the report before the state legislature, along with the memorandum explaining the action taking on these recommendations of the National Commission for Minorities. The memorandum should also contain the reason for the non acceptance of any such recommendations. See, most of the statutory commissions and institutions remain on the mercy of the government for getting some sort of respectability by way of getting their recommendations implemented by the government. See, no doubt, thus most of the statutory commissions have been able to function only with a limited effectiveness, and that too only to the extent allowed by the government. The only consolation for such institution is that something is better than nothing, since their existence provide a platform for the people of the particular category to go to these commission with their grievances in the hope that the commission would come out with a feasible solution to their problems. Though in certain cases the statutory commissions go too far in their search for guaranteeing justice to their clients, but generally in normal times their endeavors remain confined to recommending to the government viable solutions to the problem faced by the people of a particular community.